Is that popular ad you love really about you, or is it just boosting the company's ego? Find out in today's episode as we dissect the world of advertising, exploring the difference between client-centric and egocentric approaches. Stay tuned for insights that might just change the way you see advertising. Hey, lady bosses, are you working even after putting the kids to bed but still not getting results?
Are you tired of spending money on ads that aren't getting engagement?
Do you feel burdened that you aren't fulfilling your purpose in life because you are so consumed with work?
I'm your host, Brooke Boltz. I'm an attorney and founder of Boltz Legal. I started my business and in 1 year was bringing in 7 figures and am now bringing in multi-7 figures.
And I'm your co-host, Rachel Boltz, owner of Boltz Media. I've helped many businesses build their online presence and increase their revenue through digital marketing.
Want to hear how we did it?
We are here to help you achieve your goals personally, professionally, and spiritually.
So kick off your high heels, sit back, and let's ignite that passion.
We're Miss Biz, where we're putting the miss in biz.
Let's get biz done. This month, we are celebrating the 1-year Miss Biz anniversary.
As a way to celebrate, we are offering a special giveaway brought to you by Boltz Media. And the prize is a logo animation, or it can be exchanged for a logo design. Here's how to enter. There's 3 steps. 1, you're going to want to follow us and subscribe to us on our YouTube channel at Miss Biz Podcast. 2, leave us a review on Apple Podcast. 3, comment your favorite Miss Biz episode on one of our social media posts. Once you've done all 3 things, send us an email to missbizpod@gmail.com to be entered to win. Your entries will be drawn on June 28th.
When I started my business 6.5 years ago, I researched what people wanted from a lawyer. And what I found was they wanted someone who was aggressive. So when I came up with all of my ads and marketing materials, I was trying to convey that message of aggressiveness. But over the course of time, I learned that people don't really want to hear so much about me and my accomplishments or achievements. They are more interested in hearing what's in it for them. And so I had a shift in my marketing philosophy from being egocentric to client-centric.
So we're going to go into egocentric marketing and what exactly that means. So egocentric marketing means that you're focusing on the company. You're focusing on the company's achievements and its products or services. And some major pitfalls of egocentric marketing is the lack of connection with the audience and superficial relationships and short-term gains. As a digital marketer myself, I have to deal with this firsthand with clients because they want to talk about all of their accomplishments. They want to talk about all of their products and services that they have. And I have to constantly remind them that the goal of social media is really to create that community, to have your fan base established. And if all you're trying to do is sell, you're really losing out on an opportunity. What you really need to focus on is providing your consumers with value, with information, with things that are really going to help change their life. And that is what is going to give you the increased engagement as well as shares, likes, and visibility.
The origins and evolution of client-centered marketing really began in the mid-20th century. There was a paradigm shift in marketing philosophy from a product-centric approach to a customer-centric one. This shift was encapsulated in the marketing concept, which emphasized understanding and meeting the needs and wants of customers better than competitors. This marked the beginning of a more customer-focused approach to marketing.
So, client-centered marketing, that is placing the client's needs, desires, and experiences at the forefront. And some key principles to keep in mind are empathy, listening, understanding, and building trust.
Some of the things that I struggle with even now when I think of those key principles is they all sound weak to me, right? Empathy, listening, understanding. I know that that's client-centric, but at the same time, to convey that while also conveying strength as an attorney is really challenging.
Yeah, absolutely. There's got to be that fine balancing act, because for your industry specifically, one of the top complaints I hear are, I don't even get to talk to my attorney. I don't even think my attorney knows me. And what it boils down to is they don't feel cared about. They feel like they're just another number. So that empathy is important in a lot of ways, but also you do have to appear like you're a pit bull, because that's what people want when they have someone fighting for their case.
Right. If you're going into the courtroom, your empathy and care is not the only tool that you need.
Right.
So we've got a pop quiz for you. We're going to take you through some well-known advertising slogans and ask you whether these are egocentric or client-centric. So the first one is KFC, finger licking good.
That's kind of a tough one, because although it's not directly mentioning the product by name, I do feel like it is talking about the product. So I would say egocentric.
I agree with that. And what you'll find is some of these are hard to determine, because in some instances, when you're telling someone about the product, that can invoke the thought in their mind of how that product can help them and address their needs. So it's sometimes hard to figure this out, but in general, if you're just talking about the features of a product, that's generally considered to be egocentric. So the next one is from Volkswagen when they were promoting the Volkswagen Beetle, and the tagline was "Think Small."
Who thought of that tagline? I'm sorry, I am not a fan of that.
This is the 6 foot tall woman.
Yeah. But I would say that's probably egocentric as well.
Yeah. I mean, maybe small people, I'm pretty short, so I might identify with think small, but yeah, it didn't really do anything for me thinking small. It didn't really make me want to buy the product, or
it should have been something like more empowering, like dynamite, it comes small, or something like that.
Yeah. Or the car for small people.
Yes.
The perfect car for small people. I don't know. I don't know. These are probably not good.
These are rough ideas, by the way.
But yeah, something that was more focused on the person who would benefit from it.
Correct.
Than the vehicle itself. So this next one is my favorite. I think it is brilliant, and I'm going to try to come up with some way to do this in my business at some point. It's a pizza restaurant in New York City who bestowed offbeat awards on various New York City neighborhoods based on their ordering habits. So a couple of the awards were, number one, the neighborhood with the biggest identity crisis based on the number of Chicago-style pizzas that they ordered. So they're in New York-style pizza. They're ordering Chicago-style pizzas. So that neighborhood was identity crisis. So I thought that was funny.
That is so cute.
Clever, cute, and it's client-centered because the neighborhood is receiving an award and feeling important to the business because they received something.
I love that.
There's another example of an award that this same pizza place gave, which was called the least ideal neighborhood for making out, based on the number of garlic-based orders.
That is so funny.
Yes, these are clever, they're creative, but they're client-centered because they're giving something to the client. So I really thought that that was just genius.
Yes, I agree. Okay, so the next one that we're going to quiz you on is Size Matters by Morgan & Morgan.
Definitely egocentric.
I could agree with that. I do think that that is not providing any real value. It's probably like we had talked in the billboards episode, just to get people talking. So that did a good job, but it doesn't really add value to the consumer directly or directly mention the consumer. All right, Spotify. Dear person who listened to the Forever Alone playlist for 4 hours on Valentine's Day, you okay?
I love this one. And I saw there were so many different Spotify ads that were like this, where dear someone who listened to this and then had a message. I thought they were very clever, unique, and definitely client-centered, memorable, and also empathetic with whatever. Because it's true, right? You listen to songs based on how you're feeling.
Yes.
And so I thought it was just genius of Spotify to use that in its advertising.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of psychology behind that one, which makes the difference. Okay, Old Spice, the man your man could smell like. I feel like we're getting better and better on the list here now. The man your man could smell like. Do you think that that's egocentric or client-centric?
I think it's client-centric because when I hear that, I think of my man and does he need to smell better? And if so, I'm going to think, yes, this can help my need of having a better smelling man. So to me, because it invokes the thought of myself and my own man, that I feel that that's client-centric.
Okay, I can agree with that. How about the next one? Get a Mac. Mac computer versus PC comparison.
That is egocentric because it is focused on the products or the product and its characteristics and benefits of using that specific type of computer.
I agree. There's nothing in there about the client or that could add value to the client at all. Colgate, things that harm your teeth and how Colgate can fix or avoid it.
I think that's client-centric because it's talking about, it's teaching me about things that harm my teeth that I may or may not know, and then providing a solution, which would be the product. But because it's focused on not just telling me use Colgate because it fixes these things, it's educating me first on things that can harm my teeth. So I think it's client-centric.
I think it's both, because if you look, there's two different messages there. The first message says things that could harm your teeth, which is client-centric, and then the next line is and how Colgate can fix or avoid it, which turns it into more of egocentric. So it starts out good and then it just kind of goes like that.
Well, we'll talk about that because I don't know if it's a bad thing to go down, or if it's a bad thing to then talk about your brand, because at some point they got to know who you are. They got to know that you exist. True. So if it's strictly just here's all the things that hurt your teeth, peace out. Like I don't know that that's accomplishing the goal of building brand recognition either. So I thought that this is probably, for me, a good example of a balance between here's a client-centric need and here's how we, our brand, can meet that need.
Well, I guess that's something we can talk about later.
Okay.
All right. The next one is just do it.
I struggle with this one because at first I was like, I've heard this so many times, but what does it really even mean? Just do it. So I searched it up online, like what is the message of just do it? And basically it said that whatever your excuse is for not exercising, to just do it anyways. Just get out there anyways. So if you're thinking, I'm too tired, I'm too busy, just do it. And so once I understood the full story behind it, and I also thought, why didn't I understand that anyways? Like it did seem kind of obvious once I read it, but I think it's client-centric from that perspective, because it's not telling us how Nike shoes are great and comfortable. It's just saying to me as the client, get out there and exercise, just do it. And it's really not saying anything about the brand at all.
Right. It's all about the client. How about share a Coke?
Share a Coke. So it does say the name Coke in it, so that could indicate it was product-centered or ego-centered, but because it's sharing it with another person, I guess the way I gauge these is I say it, I think of it, share a Coke, and then I am conscious of where my mind goes when I hear that. Does my mind go to thinking about myself, or does my mind go to just thinking about the Coke? And for me, because it has the word share in it, my mind goes to, do I know anyone who I could share Coke with? Especially because this particular campaign, you could share a Coke with somebody else's name on it. So I could share Coke with Rachel, and it would say Rachel on the bottle of Coke. So I found it to be more client-centric.
See, I think it's a little bit more egocentric, because to me, and it's all based upon interpretation, right? We all perceive things differently based upon a multitude of factors. But to me, the underlying message is Coke. It's not share and make the world brighter. It's share our product because we're the bomb diggity. That's what they're saying, at least in my eyes.
Sure.
So, but let us know what you think. We're interested to hear from you.
Yeah, we'll do a poll.
All right.
Is share a Coke product-centric, or no, egocentric, or customer-centric?
If you enjoy the Miss Biz podcast but still have questions or need advice, we have some exciting news for you. Join us for Miss Biz Connects. Miss Biz Connects is a weekly 1-hour Zoom call on Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
This is 1 hour each week dedicated to you. We want to meet you and put our brains together to help you grow personally, professionally, and spiritually.
To access the meeting link, visit us on our social media pages at Miss Biz Podcast, or send us an email to missbizpod@gmail.com.
Join us this Friday and let's grow the Miss Biz Nation. So you may already have been aware that customer-centric is what you wanted to do. I've known this for a while. However, I've been struggling with how to incorporate it. And some of the obstacles and misconceptions about client-centric advertising is misunderstanding or misinterpreting what clients truly need or want. And that's been me. I think I've been trying to figure out what do they want and need that is big enough and worthy enough to be the center of an advertising campaign. For me, when I think about what do clients want when they hire an injury lawyer or an insurance lawyer, is they want compensation. They want to be paid for the negligence that caused their injury, or paid to fix their home. And so I think of advertisements to show how they can be paid. And there's another law firm in town who does billboards of checks. They're full checks, and it has dollar figures on how much their clients have made. And so whenever that idea comes to mind, I think, I can't do that. It's already been done. It's already been taken. And it would just be perceived as copying someone else's really well-known brand. And so that's where I've struggled, is what are the biggest challenges? And like, I know, for example, that people complain that lawyers don't return phone calls, but is that a big enough problem to center a whole campaign on? We call you back in 24 hours. Is that, I don't know. I think for me, it was like, I didn't really think it would be. They called me back. Okay, fine. But I didn't think it was big enough to center a whole marketing campaign around, even though I had some awareness of the challenges. I just couldn't really find that issue or problem that clients were dealing with that was big enough to center a campaign around.
I think empathy for you is a big one because there's a lot of mistrust when it comes to attorneys. A lot of people think that attorneys are liars. So having a campaign that talks about how much you care and really emphasizes the experience of the client and what the client will get out of it is something that could work for your benefit.
Mm-hmm. And that brings us to the next one, which is another obstacle and misconception is grappling with finding the right balance between promoting the brand and addressing the specific needs of the clients. And just as you mentioned, that empathy factor is a need that people want, but do they want empathy at the expense of not getting the aggressive pit bull in the courtroom? I don't think so. I think they'd say, I'll go see a counselor if I want just empathy, but I need that mix of both.
Yes.
And so that's so hard to find a balance, especially if you have a brand or a product that is centered around strength, to find that way to meet the needs without also sacrificing the strength component.
I think it's about breaking that glass ceiling where, just because I'm nice doesn't mean I won't rip your head off.
Yeah.
So you've got to show them that just because I empathize doesn't mean that I'm weak. So it's really going to take a lot of strategy to be able to implement that in your marketing campaign.
It also doesn't mean you're not fun. I've been struggling with this too, because my brand for so long has just been the lightning bolt, which was strength, and I'm going to incorporate some more faith elements to it, and then I have these music parodies that are just complete fun. So it almost feels like an identity crisis because I have this strong symbolism, and then I have this faith component that is more humility and empathy, and then I have this fun singing and dancing thing. And at the end of the day, I'm like, those are all different aspects of me. And so I don't want to just choose one entirely because they all encompass who I am. And just because you're a Christian doesn't mean you can't be strong. It doesn't mean you can't be fun. It doesn't mean and that's how all people are. They're not just one type of person. They have different aspects to their personality and their brand. So
here's what you need to do. You need to have a video where you're in church doing karate, wearing something goofy, and it'll encompass all those things.
There we go. Tie it all together.
Yes. See?
So do you want to tell them about the Chevy commercial that we watched this morning?
Oh, the one that you made me watch right before we went on camera. Oh my goodness. This commercial will get you right in the feels. It has this beautiful golden retriever and this girl, and they grow up together, and you see them going through all these experiences in life, and she's like petting the little golden retriever, and she's going through a breakup on the phone, and her dog is there, and then the next scene she's like dating somebody new, and the guy tries to kiss her, and the dog starts growling because it's protecting her. And so you start to build like this connection with the dog. You're like, man, that dog is a G. He has got that girl's back. And then it's just very like heart-wrenching. I may or may not have cried. I will not confirm nor deny. But then at the very end, they're in the car. Did I miss any important pieces?
Well, yeah, that she had to put the dog down.
Yes. Okay. So she had to put the dog down, and then she got a puppy. And then it talks about where they're in the car and it's like going through life's journeys together or something like that.
Yes. And take a guess of what company was promoting, whose commercial this was, because from all the story you've told me, it tells me nothing about who this product or brand is. So it was Chevy. And the vehicle that she was in throughout these different experiences in life was a Chevy. And the only thing that allowed you to know that it was Chevy was the logo that came on the screen at the very end. And then it had the tagline of going with you through life's journeys. And it was super impactful and also very customer-centric, and I thought it had a good balance of showing empathy, but also tying it in at the end with the brand, which was this vehicle is also with you for all of your different life experiences. The only thing, though, that I question is Chevy is a household name. Everybody knows Chevy. So that's all you need to do is to put a logo. But if they pop up their Bolt's Legal logo, like people don't know Bolt's Legal logo as a household name in the same way that they know Chevy. And so I question, would that work? I think you probably, if you're not a household name, need to do something more like what Colgate did, which is you have the empathy and then you solve the problem with your product or brand until you get to the place that everybody knows who you are. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
So I think it really depends on the business. Like you had mentioned with your business though, because it's easily identified what you do. I mean, Bolt's Legal, we know that you're a law firm. I don't think that it would necessarily lose the impact. You would probably have to have like a direct call to action where it had like your phone number or your website or something on there that would direct traffic to you, because it's not like they can just drive 5 miles and get to you like with any of the Chevy dealerships. But if your business was something like Mario's and you were a pizza joint, but the only thing that people would see was Mario's, then people would be like, well, what is Mario's? So I think it could work, but you would need some additional information in there.
That's a good point. So while creativity is essential in advertising, sometimes we can put too much emphasis on the creativity at the expense of losing out on some of the customer-centric options. So there's a tendency sometimes to prioritize flashy visuals or catchy slogans over substance and relevance to the client. So advertisements that prioritize creativity at the expense of addressing client needs may fail to connect with the target audience on a meaningful level. I'd ask you too to sit and think about some of the advertisements that you have really liked. And I think about Super Bowl commercials. They tend to have really impactful Super Bowl commercials. So what are some of those ads that you really like and remember? And then dive into what did that ad make you feel that caused you to like it so much? And then then use that as a template on how to try to evoke that same feeling in your audience with your advertising.
Yeah, it can definitely be challenging to find that fine line of being able to connect and be memorable and engaging and all about the client, but yet you still want people to know who you are and what you do.
Yes.
So some ways to to kind of find out what people are looking for, what people want to see, is to survey your target market. So Stephanie Gass is someone that we've had on our show before, and Brooke had taken a course from her on how to start a podcast. And one of the things that Stephanie had her do was to survey people that she knew to find out what her audience was interested in learning about and listening to.
So yes, we had to first write down who our target market was and be very specific down to an exact person. We had to give her a name. I don't remember what my name was. I might not have done that part because I thought it was stupid. But they want you to give your target avatar a name and be very descriptive on who he or she is. And so for me, it was generally Christian businesswomen. So I made a list of, I think we had to do a minimum of five people I knew who fit that demographic. And then I sat down with them and asked them the survey questions. And some of the questions were, what is a pain point in your business? What do you feel like you want to know more about? And it was really eye-opening for me because there were some great topics there that I would not have otherwise thought of. One person said that she wanted to know more about LinkedIn marketing. And so when I met Elise Quinn, who happens to be a guru with LinkedIn marketing, I immediately asked her to come on the show to talk about that because that was a need of someone in our audience and in our target demographic. So the point is talking to the people in your social circle. Those same five women I talk to on a weekly basis, but I don't use those conversations always to get valuable information for my business. And so do that. When you're sitting down to lunch or dinner, ask them these questions about what do you like about the law firm that you work with now? What do you like about the ones that, or what do you dislike about other law firms that you've worked with? You know, assuming they have that experience, or if it's not a law firm, any professional, what draws you to an accountant? What draws you to a realtor? What draws you to a mortgage company? What attracts them to whatever companies they're using, and what detracts them? And if you just have that understanding, then you can do a better job at meeting those needs or addressing those needs in your advertising.
Mindfulness on the go. Here's what you need to know.
All right, so let's talk about burnout, right? This is going to be really important for business owners. Burnout is a really big topic and can be really scary. So top 3 things to kind of pay attention for burnout. Your first one's going to be tuning into your body and mind. I call them check-ins. Let's do a check-in with ourselves. How's my body feeling? How's my mind feeling? We're going to feel that strain and that stress through your body and also with your mind if it feels like you're straining yourself. Your second thing is setting boundaries. Such a huge topic and can be really difficult. And so you want to kind of take an inventory. What areas am I straining at and what areas can I pull back? And think about it as a percentage. Maybe today I'm at an 80%, but another day I'm at a 30%, and kind of vary with those boundaries based on how you're feeling that day. Your last thing is going to be nurture your passions. So really lean into those passions on the days that you feel like you're struggling, because those are the days that you really need to focus on those passions and give you that little bit of push to get you from that burnout to brilliant state.